Hello guys, Lit here. So welcome to day 3 update for Spirit Walker Companion. And I do change things quite a lot and I also have a lot of upgrade on my gear. But one thing that I knew is I'm using a new unique scepter which is Sylvan Effigy, and this scepter will allow you to have more companion as long as it's a different type, and it also going to give you Asmodean Wolf. And this wolf can buff your companion, and it also have a skill called Eternal Hunt. And this skill deal a pretty damn good DPS. I will say it's probably not as much as a monkey, but I think it's pretty close to monkey DPS. So now we basically have a two main DPS, which is the wolf and also monkey, which bring our DPS up for quite a bit. However, Sylvan Effigy does have a downside because it's a unique scepter. You lose the plus minion skill on your scepter. So the monkey DPS will be lower, but I think the damage from the Eternal Hunt from the Asmodean Wolf is more than enough to compensate for the monkey. So I think the damage is even bigger right now, since both of the DPS is pretty close. And with that said, let's go through all the detail. First, let's go to the skill. The first one is Wild Protector. This is the pair from the Ascendancy. And the support gem will be a common theme here. I'm going to use a lot of the same gem for a lot of the minion. So we begin with Feeding Frenzy, Master. This is two of the strongest support gem for minion. And we have Rapid Attack, Rage 3, and also Minion Mastery. For the Asmodean Wolf, there's a bit difference here. I'm still using Feeding Frenzy and Master, and also Rage 3. But on Asmodean Wolf, I'm using Bidding 2. And the reason why I'm using this because Eternal Hunt is a command skill. This is going to bring the cooldown down and going to give the command skill 30% more damage. And Eternal Hunt have a cooldown. So Eternal Hunt, when you press it, it will summon 7 wolf over 8 seconds. And the cooldown is 15 seconds. And with Bidding 2, and some cooldown recovery on the node on the passive tree, we're able to bring down the cooldown to 8.8 seconds, which is pretty close. So basically every time the Eternal Hunt is end, we can click the new one again. And also because this is a command skill, I'm using Critical Leash. This is going to give the wolves Unholy Might, which is 30% damage as extra chaos. And the number you see right here is without any buff, and without the Critical Leash active, and without the Rage active. And next is the monkey. The monkey we are using Feeding Frenzy and Master. The same thing with Rapid Attack and Rage. This is the core support for like most of the companion. And the different on the monkey, I'm using Super Critical. And the reason for this one is because my monkey have a mod. The important mod is Extra Criticals. And this Extra Critical with the base crit chance for the monkey will basically make the monkey have 100% critical. But Super Critical will bring down the crit chance a little bit. And I do have some gem that have some crit chance, and also there's some crit chance node on the tree. But the crit chance right now is at 97.8%, which is I think good enough. We can add some more jewel if you really want to bring this to 100. But super critical give us 100% critical damage bonus, and that's a lot of DPS. And then for the other companion, I do get Quadilla, and this one going to give us the extra physical damage aura, which give the extra 20% physical damage to all the minion, and also haste aura from the directors from before. These both of them you can find them on Trouble Camp. The difference is on Act 3. This Trouble Camp from Infested Baron is where you find the boar and armadillo. And the Trouble Camp here is on the Jungle Ruin. This is where you're going to get the Quadrilla. And for Quadrilla, you cannot get haste here, but you can get the extra physical damage aura. And the support gem is the standard Feeding Frenzy, Master, Rapid Attack, Rage 3, and Minion Mastery. And the next one is the Wolf Pack. This is also another companion. And this one doesn't have a big DPS. So right now the DPS is only like 13k, 13.7. But Wolf Pack has 7 wolves. So 7 times 13.7, right? And because it has 7 wolf, this is also pretty good for like clearing stuff to kill like the white small monster. Wolfpack is really good for that. And this is also with the support gem. This support gem is the defensive support gems. This is going to take 10% damage from you to the Wolfpack, and because there are 7 minion there, they are mostly alive. So the Wolfpack I think is a good addition. And the Reaver and Cleric just to add more modifier for the Master, because Master gives 7% more damage per each different effective minion. So this one is like additional 14% for everyone. And the support gem is the same: Last Gaps, Mid Shield, and Sacrificial Lamb. And we also need 2 skeleton for the Pain Offering. So after you get all your companion, you have to make sure that you have the spirit to get at least like 2 skeletons, either 2 cleric or cleric and reaver. And for cleric, I adding the Amana Mutita. This is not really necessary. This just gives you abyssal modifier. It's an extra buff, but it's not necessary. And of course, we still have the pain offering with sacrificial offering and death mark. And then sniper's mark with touch mark, eternal mark, mark for death for brick armor, and coordinate recovery, so we can use the sniper mark a little bit faster. And the last one is Refutations. And Refutation is basically a buff. So every time you press this, you will have a buff. And every damage that comes to you will get parry. And parry basically apply a debuff on the enemy, make them take 50% more damage. So this is extra DPS. But in order to use this, you will need ward, and you have to make sure that you have like around 200, 300 wards. And every time you use these Refutations, if the hit is too much, you're going to get heavy stun. But Refutation also going to give you a stun threshold per 10 runic ward spend. So the more runic ward you have, the more stun threshold you're going to have. So this is really important to have like around 200, 300 runic ward. And for me personally, I don't think I'm getting stunned from this. So far, it's a pretty safe to use. It's just an easy way to apply parry to the enemy and get the extra 50% more attack damage. And with the passive tree on the weapon set 2, which is basically the Refutation, this is only on weapon set 2. And I set my pain offering on weapon set 1 and also sniper mark on weapon set 1. And the reason why I'm using this part is not really necessary, but I just want to easily able to switch back to weapon set 1. So every time I use Refutations, and I will use either pen offering or sniper mark to switch back to weapon set 1. And on the weapon set 2, you can see over here, I take like parry buff durations and also the parry debuff magnitude, so the enemy take more attack damage and all that stuff. So the weapon set 2 is basically try to make the parry debuff last as long as possible, and also the parry debuff magnitude as high as possible. And for departing, it is basically the same. We're still going over here. This will give you extra 5% damage directed to your companion, so make you a little bit more tanky. And I also take some evasion node, like this node over here. This gives movement speed, also evasion. And also this one give evasion and evasions. And I also take this node here that give more evasions. I'm right now at 16k, which is not super high. Probably try to reach something like 20 or 30k. And so far 16k feels pretty comfortable, and considering my playstyle, I will say that this is pretty safe. And also this one will give you energy shield. I have 1.8k because my chest have a good amount of evasions. This is not the biggest evasion ever. 2.3k is good, but not the best. I think you can reach something like 2.8k evasion on the chest. So that is an upgrade for like later on. But for now, this is good enough for me. And for the top one, I'm anointing the gigantic following. So I just removed these entire sections. And there is also a from nothing jewel here. And this from nothing jewel, I think it's cheap at the time I buy it anyway. This allow us to take the cooldown recovery for the Asmanian Wolf. 20% here, 20% here. And there's also 5% attack speed here. And then this one going to give you more energy shield from your helmet, and my helmet, and that's the reason my helmet is a pure energy shield. And this one going to give more elemental resistance for your minion, and this is really important. Right now at the companion, if I scroll down, I'm at 74%. This is good enough. If I want to cap 80%, I can get this 1% node over here. This is going to give the companion 12% elemental resistance, and this is basically going to make the elemental resistance of the companion cap at 80%. So it's going to make them more tanky. So this surrounding jewel is really, really nice because this get a lot of things that we need. And for the jewel, this I'm still using this kind of jewel, which is not the best. And this one is attack speed and critical strike chance. This crit chance to compensate for the super critical that I mentioned earlier. And I'm still using like this one, attack speed and critical damage bonus. This is most of the jewel. The 4 ideal mod is minion damage, minion attack speed, and minion crit damage or crit chance, and also maximum energy shield. But that jewel going to be expensive, so we still have a pretty high ceiling that we can reach if we want to upgrade like almost all the jewel, upgrade all the chest, the helmet, and all that stuff. We still can push this build a little bit further, but I will need more currency. So that's basically the passive tree and the jewel and all that stuff. Most of them is the same. There's a bit of optimization on this area, and it's basically save us a lot of passive point. So now for the items, the first thing is the chest that I mentioned earlier. This is pure evasion chest. The same with the glove and the boots. And for the glove and the boots, we basically can craft runic ward using the Ferricium Anvil over here. You can put them in this slot, and it will convert some of the evasion into the runic ward. You will lose some evasion, but it will give you enough runic ward to use the refutation. And for the boots, I'm using Assassin's Step. No, for no particular reason, because I'm too lazy to craft a boots. But basically, these boots give a lot of deflection, which is good for us. So why not? And so I think this is a pretty good boot. If you want to use a rare boot, you can. It will make you easier to keep your resistance and all that stuff. And for the rings, there's a new mod for minion on rings. I think you can craft it on bridge, but I haven't got there yet. So my ring is basically just mostly attribute, resistance, and life, and that's about it. The same thing with this ring over here. And for the amulet, this is an upgrade from my previous rings. So this is a +3 minion, and also I have a T1 evasion there, and also the secreted mod that give evasion rating from every body armor. The only mod that are not really useful is the Ingress armor. I kind of hope to get the percentage energy shield, but I don't get them, so it's not that big of a deal. But if I can get energy shield, that will give me more energy shield, basically give me more hit pool. But for now, this amulet I think is pretty damn good already. And then for the helmet, +2 minion with as much energy shield as you can. And the new stuff is of course the scepter. The scepter is the Sylvan effigy, and this one have a modifier variant. Basically, most of them is about the level of the Tasmanian Wolf. I get the level 19, but I don't think you have to. Like, if you just want to start using it, level 19 will only give the Aspen Wolf 5 link. And as you can see over here, my Aspen Wolf is 6 link, and this is a new update for this link. And the way you apply it, you not apply it to the skill, you apply it to the scepter. So take down the scepter, and you basically apply this to the scepter. And that's how you get the 6 link on the Aspen Wolf. And also, one thing I forget to mention, I do get my 4 ascendancy, which is idolatry, and this is the reason why you see a lot of idol. That some of them doesn't really make sense. For example, like this one, gain 1 rage on melee hit. This doesn't really do anything, and the reason why I'm using this is because I want the companion deal increased damage and 2% increased reservations. So the idol here is also doesn't really do anything for us. The only item that do something for us is the helmet. This gives reservations, and this one gives attack speed. But these two, this basically just to get the bonus for idolatry. And one note that I want to mention is this rune over here. Be careful with this rune. Carve Mastery basically on the body armor give you 3 spirit per idol socket on your equipment. But you need to be careful because this rune is really expensive. You have to make sure that the +3 spirit actually makes sense, that you actually can get 1 more minion. And even with that, you kind of have to ask yourself, is this really worth using? Because in my case, spirit actually doesn't really matter for me. I still can get all my minion even without this rune. So this is basically I'm just wasting 15 divine. So instead of using Carve Mastery, I will highly recommend just use something like this. Let me find it. This is idol. This idol is not that expensive, and it gives you a 12% rarity item found mod on your body armor, but it's a pretty good, and it's going to give you a 10% increased damage and 2% reservations. I will include this just because I already bought it. Like, I don't want to replace it because it's pretty expensive rune. But once again, you definitely do not need this. I personally don't think it's worth the cost. I buy this so I can try it out, and I'm not really thinking about like whether I can actually use the spirit or not. So I basically wasted 15 divine item, as I mentioned earlier. So in my opinion, don't use this one. Just use rapid item. It's better. And then for the weapon, this is a better weapon than the Trans Timber. So basically, previously we are using Trans Timber here, and Trans Timber basically is a lower DPS. So if we change this, we lose quite a lot of DPS. So this spear basically is the best in slot for spear until you switch into talisman for the Rod of the Wilds, or if you use 200 mace for the Giant's Blood. So for now, this is basically best in slot until we get there. And you basically can buy the Tiny Grip Iron Head Spear, and you basically craft them twice on the Rune Forging Forge over here, and then it will upgrade the physical damage. And I basically corrupt it, and I got the extra socket, so I get a little bit more physical damage. And the last one is the Mage's Blood, and for the Mage's Blood, it's basically mostly the same. I do use the define op on Mageplot to find another variants, and this variant have a Quicksilver. And this Quicksilver basically gives me 30% increased movement speed. And I think that's it about the items, and I think that's about the build. This is I explained the passive tree, I also explained the skill and the items, and the link for the POP and the mobility will be on the descriptions. So if you guys have any question, as usual, just leave it in the comment below. And thank you everyone for watching, I really appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one.